Does anybody here feel like they need more rest? Anyone? Oh, that's just a few, it seems. Everybody raised their hand. So for those of you at home, everybody basically raised their hand here. Does anybody feel like you've been exhausted for longer than you can remember? This is something that Tricia Hersey noticed about herself. This person was a graduate student in faith work when she realized that her schedule looked something like get up at 6 a.m., go to school, go to her part-time job, attempt to parent, do homework, go to bed at midnight, rinse and repeat. She recognized that this was not a way to live. She was in a perpetual state of exhaustion. So she committed herself, in part inspired by Black activists like herself, such as Harriet Tubman, who took time to stop on her journey to liberate those who had been enslaved, and the Marooners, Black folks who jumped off boats when they reached these shores, attempting to be enslaved, to allow their bodies not to be owned. She was inspired by all of those who said, my body is my own and it doesn't belong to anyone else. So she was inspired to start a movement called the NAP Ministry. And what started as a one-time installation of folks being given permission to come together for collective rest, collective nap, became a movement giving many this opportunity to rest. Tricia Hersey talks about how we have been conditioned, all of us have been conditioned to feel like we need to be productive all the time. This has been conditioned into us by white supremacy culture and by capitalism. And it's been conditioned into us regardless of whether we're a person of color or not, regardless of if we're someone working in a white-collar job or someone who's experiencing homelessness. All of us have been conditioned into this grind culture in some way. All of us have been taught that you always have to be working, to be doing, right? We've been taught that to be able to rest is to be lazy. We've been taught that to rest is a privilege, something that only certain people get to do. That it's something that should be earned because you've worked hard enough. Or that rest is something that you can take so that you can continue to work. Tricia Hersey thinks about rest in a different way. I recently read her book, Rest as Resistance, and it really kind of blew my mind in terms of what rest can do for us and what rest should be. Resting can be lots of things. It can be like what we did during our time for all ages, where we touched our body and gave ourselves a break, right? A movement break. It can mean taking breaks from social media. It can mean going for a walk, or doing yoga, or playing a musical instrument. It means doing that which connects us to ourselves. Basically anything where we take our body back and recognize that it is not owned by anyone else. The work that is most important that we must take care of is community care, which allows others to rest. The work with which we want to care for each other. To not take up this lie that productivity is the most important value. Tricia Hersey sees rest as a time for us to dream and to reimagine what the world could be like. So, if you'll permit me an experiment, I want to allow us a little bit of time to rest here in the sanctuary. I've handed out some blankets, some of you have them. If you don't have a blanket, raise your hand and our worship associate Aaron will bring one to you. And I want to encourage you to rest here. It might mean lying on a pew with your jacket under your head and the blanket over you. It might mean finding another place in the sanctuary to rest and to lie down. It might mean sitting, because maybe that's what's comfortable for you. It might mean finding movement that feels restful. But whatever it is, I encourage you to rest, to nap. I'm going to nap right here on the chancel. This is part of why I'm wearing this kind of cozy clothing this morning instead of my usual Sunday morning clothes. The point is for us to experience the liberation of collective rest, to give each other permission to rest. If you're at home, I invite you to do this too. It's probably going to be even easier for you. We'll play some music. Jan is going to play some lullabies for us. And we'll bring you back at the end of a bell. So it's going to be a little bit, around 10 minutes of rest. So I encourage you to find the ways that are comfortable for you to do this. And I wish you rest.